All right, let's get right into it. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a book that has completely flipped the script on how millions of people think about money. Honestly, it's less of a book and more of a total mindset shift. So what we're going to do here is break down its core philosophy in this explainer.
The whole idea behind this book starts with this story of his two dads. See, he had his real dad, a super smart guy, PhD, government employee, who he calls his poor dad. Then he had his best friend's dad, an entrepreneur, who didn't even finish middle school, and that was his rich dad. And the advice they gave him? It was polar opposite. One said the love of money is evil. The other, he argued that the lack of money is the real problem. Imagine being a kid and hearing these two totally different views. It forced him to stop, think, and choose his own way forward.
And this is where you really see the huge difference in how they saw the world. Poor Dad, he followed the script we all hear. Go to school, get good grades, find a safe job, find a good company to work for. But Rich Dad, he had a different spin. He said, study hard so you can find a good company to buy. One mindset is about being a part of the machine. The other, it's about owning the machine. It's the difference between working hard for your money and having your money work hard for you.
So why is this so important? Because Poor Dad's advice, that's the path most of us are taught to take. But it leads to a life where you're basically stuck on a financial treadmill. You get up, you go to work, you earn a paycheck, you pay your bills, and then you do it all over again next month.
Kiyosaki has a name for this treadmill, the rat race. And what's wild is that he says this whole cycle isn't even driven by logic. It's driven by two really powerful emotions. First, there's the fear of not having enough money. That's what gets you out of bed and to a job you might not even like. And then, when you get a raise, that's when greed or desire kicks in and you start spending more. So more money comes in, but more money just goes right back out. The wheel just spins faster.
And if you were to actually draw it out, the flow of money for most people tells the whole story. Your salary comes in from your job, and it immediately flows right back out. To taxes, to the mortgage, the car payment, the credit cards. But look closely. What's missing? There is absolutely nothing flowing into a column that actually builds your wealth over the long term. It's just a loop of surviving, not getting ahead.
Okay, so how do you break the cycle? How do you get off this hamster wheel? This, right here, is the single biggest lesson in the entire book. Rule number 1. It's not some complicated Wall Street secret. It's just this simple, powerful idea. If you truly understand this one quote, you understand the key to everything.
To get it, Kiyosaki just cuts through all of the confusing financial talk. His definition of an asset is just brilliantly simple. An asset is anything at all that puts money in your pocket. It generates income for you whether you're working or not.
And a liability? Well, you guessed it. It does the exact opposite. It takes money out of your pocket. And this is where he drops a bombshell for a lot of people. That house you live in, he says for most people it's not an asset. It's their biggest liability. Why? Just think about it. Every single month, that house is pulling money out of your bank account for the mortgage, for taxes, for insurance, for repair.
But the rich, they play a totally different game. Their cash flow looks completely different. They focus all their energy on one thing first, building that asset column. They buy things like rental properties, stocks, businesses, things that generate income all by themselves. That income then pays for all their expenses. And whatever's left over, boom, it goes right back into buying even more assets. It becomes this awesome, self-perpetuating cycle of wealth.
This brings up a really powerful question, one you should probably ask yourself. We get our profession confused with our business all the time. You ask a doctor what their business is, they'll say, I'm in the business of medicine. But they don't own the hospital, they work there. Rich Dad's point is that you have to separate the two.
And here's the big distinction. Your profession is how you get your paycheck. It pays the bills, especially when you're starting out. But your business, your real business, is your asset column. When Rich Dad said you have to mind your own business, he meant it literally. Focus on building and managing that column of things that pay you.
So, what kind of things are we talking about here? Well, here are the classic examples from the book. You've got businesses you don't have to personally run, Stocks, bonds, real estate that brings in rent, even things like royalties from a book or a patent. You see the pattern, right? All of these things are working for you, making you money even when you're asleep.
This also completely flips the script on how you buy nice things. The typical path is you see a new car, you want it, so you finance it. You go into debt and add another liability to your name. The rich dad way? You build up your asset column until the income from your assets can buy that car for you. The luxury isn't another bill. It's a trophy. It's a reward for being smart.
Now, knowing all this stuff is great, but that's only half the battle. You have to actually do something with it. Kiyosaki makes his point over and over. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you're not bold, you won't get ahead. Fear, the fear of losing money or making a mistake, it's what paralyzes most people. Getting rich requires having the guts to take calculated risks.
He gives this really cool example of this in action, something he calls inventing money. He found a house worth 75 grand in foreclosure. He bought it for a steal, just 20 grand. Then he turned around and sold it for 60 grand, but he created his own financing for the new buyer. The result? He created a $40,000 asset, a promissory note that paid him interest every single month. He basically created an asset out of thin air, just using his financial intelligence. So if the formula is pretty straightforward, why isn't everyone doing this? Well, Kiyosaki says it usually boils down to one of these 5 big personal roadblocks. You've got fear, which we just talked about. Then there's cynicism, the voice that finds a problem with every single opportunity. Then there's simple laziness, being too busy to handle your own money, bad habits like paying all your bills before you pay yourself, and finally, arrogance, thinking you know it all and being unwilling to learn. And that brings everything right back home, doesn't it? Back to you. The book lays out the map pretty clearly, but you're the one who has to actually take the journey. It's about looking in the mirror and figuring out which of those obstacles are holding you back. So, the only real question left is the one you see right here. What is stopping you from building your asset column? Answering that honestly, that's the real first step.